right, today we are going to do lab 15. It is the last lab we're going to do before the break. We are going to investigate impulse of these balls when they come in contact with the floor. I'm going to be dropping them from a given height. We're going to use conservation of energy to calculate the velocity that these will reach the ground with. We are going to record the height that we are dropping our balls from. We are going to record the height that our balls return with. What we can do with the return height is calculate the velocity that the ball left the floor with. So some energy is being dissipated when the ball hits the floor. So the return height will not be the same height in which we dropped it from, but we can still use conservation of energy. After the collision with the floor, and when the ball is returning up, it's considered to be in free fall. So it has some initial velocity once it leaves the floor, and that kinetic energy will be converted to potential energy, which is indicated by the return height. So using our return height, we can calculate the velocity that our ball left the floor with. With this information, plus the mass of these objects, we can calculate our impulse, or our change in momentum. We have to take into consideration the direction. So we're going to identify the velocity that the ball hits the floor with is negative because it's moving in the downward direction, and the velocity that the ball leaves the floor with is a positive direction. So this, of course, is arbitrary. We just have to make sure that one of the directions is positive and one is negative because it's going in a different direction on the way down as on the way up. In any rate, so we are going to be measuring our drop height, our return height, and the mass of these balls using meter sticks, the balls, and a scale. This is all we need for this lab. We're going to use conservation of energy to calculate our velocity that it hits the ground with and the velocity that it leaves the ground with, and we're going to use our impulse momentum theorem to calculate our impulse, or our change in momentum, by calculating the momentum right before it hits the ground and our momentum right after it hits the ground. So I'm going to drop these from a certain height. It's arbitrary. I'm picking the 2.4 meters because it's already marked on the wall for no other reason. You can choose whatever height you want. And then we're going to just record what the bounce height is. We will do this 4 times to reduce experimental uncertainty. I'm going to do one more. Actually, I'm going to do one more. Okay. All right. And then we will do the same thing with our ping pong ball and compare our changes in momentum. So the bounce height for the ping pong ball is not as high as the bounce height for the golf ball, but that's not the only thing we have to take into consideration when we take a look at our momentum. We also have to take into consideration the mass. So I'm going to run the same set of trials with a new flooring. The bounce heights will be different because my impact with the floor is going to be different because the floor is now made of cardboard. So I'm going to drop it from the same height, see where it bounces to, and we'll make some observations about the impact or the impulse that we have when we are on this different style floor. Students are coming. Oh. I'll show you my lab notebook too.